New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hi, everybody. This is Nanette Kennedy with Humanity's Team, and we are getting ready to go with our Power of Prayer call here today. And I want to introduce you to our good friend and host of the prayers, Reverend Berbzinski.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or I guess maybe good evening, depending on where you are. Hello, Nanette. How are you today?
I'm hanging in there. I'm doing well.
Good. Glad to hear that. Welcome, everyone, to Humanity's Team's Power of Prayer call. We do this on the very first Sunday of every month. And as part of all of that, you can send your email prayer requests. We'll put a banner up in a little bit where you can send prayer requests. If you're with us live and watching on one of our groups, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or humanities.team private social network, please feel free to comment and share your prayer requests live in real time in the comment boxes with us. Now, we do have a plethora of prayer requests. I've been watching them pour in all month long. And what we do here is, Nanette, you're an angel, because Nanette kind of compiles and boils it all down to a handful of requests that encompass all the different verbiages, all the different languages, all the different people, all the different requests that have come in over the past month to that prayer line. And Nanette Roughfest, any idea on a number? I should have asked you this ahead of time. Any idea on a number, how many requests we saw this month?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that's what I would say too.
No, I didn't count.
It's a running tally,
Yes,
day to day throughout the month, and every day there are prayer requests. And I tell you, it is my great honor and pleasure to be able to every day share on those requests that come in. So if you're watching this broadcast and you've submitted a prayer request, please know that we're praying for those day by day as they come in. And again, today we're going to do kind of a summary prayer over the next half hour or so to summarize all those requests. So where should we get started today, Nanette?
well, we'll just get right into it. And unless you want to do a quick blessing.
Yeah, let's set a tone then. Join me, folks, in an opportunity to come together and know the one. To recognize that there is one power, one presence, one infinite intelligence that's moving and breathing and having its being as all of life. The Alpha and the Omega, the everything and the no thing. Call it what you will. Call it by any name. God, Buddha, Brahma, Yahweh, Vishnu, Kuan Yin, Source Energy, Muhammad. No matter the name, no matter the image, no matter the icon, the oneness remains the one. Moving and breathing and having its being as my life, as the lives of each and every one that come together this day in this time. Perhaps watching a replay at another time, no matter when, no matter where, beyond the confines of time and space, there is God, and together in that we are each a unique and divine expression of that one. We are each a divine, unique expression that is vital to the evolution of human consciousness. And so I know what part of what is happening here today is a great revelation. We are revealing the truth of the lives of each and every one that has submitted a request here this day. Being in that high consciousness, bringing myself to know that in some amazing way, I don't always have to know all the mechanics. I just have to trust in the deep, have that deep faith, have that deep sense of trust that in some way it's all working out. Life is working out. Everything's coming together to reveal a vision that works for all. And as we explore that vision today, a world that works for all, I am excited, filled with a sense of gratitude for all that wants to be known, for all that wants to be revealed. So I open this up and I witness the magnificence of God's life expressing through and as these words, through and as this time, through and as the consciousness we create here together. Life is good. So it is. All right.
That gets us in the mood.
That gets the juices flowing. Exactly.
That's right. Okay, well, our first request is from Erica and Daryl, two anonymous people, and Carol and Craig, who are would like prayers for reconciliation, patience, understanding, and compassion in their relationships.
Yes. See, what I know is I know that in the mind of God, there is the oneness of life. And that in that oneness of life, we are each connected. Deeply, deeply, we are one. And deeply, we are connected through all of life. And so there are the opportunities to come together in relationship. And what I know is I know every relationship, no matter how long it may last, no matter what it may look like, each relationship is an absolute divine blessing to everyone, to each party involved. And so for those that have sent this request for a healing of these dynamic interpersonal relationships, I claim for everyone involved, and even those that are unnamed, those that maybe are saying right now, maybe those that are right now saying, I would like prayer. I would like more compassion in my relationship. I would like more love in my life and in my relationship. I'd like a healing in my relationship for each and every one. I claim that healing right now, that deep sense that we are connected. And sometimes, yes, we may not see exactly alike. And yet that is in no way hinders the opportunity to transcend those self-imposed limitations, transcend those old beliefs, and come to a new agreement, a new understanding, a new way of being together in a relationship, as a relationship. God, getting to know God. When I see all the relationships in the world, when I see these connections, these lines of communication that are opening and connected, I recognize there is the divine flow. And so each and every relationship in its own way represents that divine flow. For those named here this day, for those that Nanette has brought into our consciousness, who have brought themselves into a consciousness of saying, I desire something different, we claim and know that different is already happening, that newness is upon them, and that there is a great revelation that is happening for everyone involved. Life is good. We are good in it. So I am ready, and we are open for what comes next for the next part of this. We'll bring Nanette back in here. Let's keep this rolling.
Okay. This one I separated out a little bit because it's such a big deal. And it's from a person in India who is dealing with the major pandemic over there and having to deal with the cremation of the individuals who are not making it. And he would like prayers for the country, the COVID, just for strength in this situation.
Yes. And see, and what I know is I know that we have within us the power that is God's power. We have the ability to direct and use the power of the oneness to control and shift and change the conditions of our lives. And right now, there is no question, there is the condition, there's an experience that is happening throughout the country of India right now. There are shortages and there is illness and this virus, as it appears to make a new resurgence throughout the country, is bringing up another and a unique opportunity for great healing. And so I claim for each one that is in any way touched by this, knowing that we are all in some way touched by this. No one is immune to what is happening in the world right now. No one is beyond that, yet we may transcend those experiences. We may transcend the downward spiral of despair and depression and decay, and we may look to the fact that there there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. There is always another way through. There is always a new opportunity. There is always a great healing that is upon us. And so I claim right now, I lift up the entire country of India and cast a vibration of absolute healing, of absolute health and vibrance in the body temple, of an absolute sense of casting out this virus that does not serve, that is no longer necessary. We can say we've learned our lesson. We can say that we've had the experience. We cast that virus out. We cast ourselves and we lift everyone in India up into that expression, into a vision of a high consciousness and a great vision of absolute and perfect health. And as each one that hears these words, each one in this circle, this community, this great and glorious community that is humanity's team, as we each lend a voice and say, yes to that. Not a, oh, I don't know, and oh, how can that be? And oh, no questions about how this is. We absolutely know the truth. There is divine healing. It is upon us right now. It is operating in the lives of everyone on this planet. And we activate that through our own consciousness. We activate a vision of a divine health operating through the entire people, the entire population of India and the entire world, the entire planet. Wrapping that up, and I know there's going to be requests here for specifics and different health concerns and different ideas. And we're going to get into those right now because I know those are there too, wherever they may be. What I want everyone to know, I want everyone to hear, is that we are transcending those old beliefs and bringing forth a brand new sense of healing in the world. So let's bring them that back, and let's hear a little more of what we've got on the list today.
Thank you. That was powerful and much needed, I'm sure. We have Minu, Mohit, Ansel, Natalie, Neelam, Nasreen, Alexandra, Rashama, Joanne, the Spikes family, and Noel would like prayers for themselves or relatives and friends who are suffering from illnesses and injuries, COVID, cancer, disabilities, and for successful surgeries and emotional strength.
Yes. And we lift up each one of these dear divine souls. We lift up each one of these dear names. We lift up those that maybe are not named in our own lives and the lives we know around us. We lift up each one that has that absolute sense of commitment, that sense of faith to say, I believe in prayer. And I turn to prayer as a sense, as a form, as a source of healing. And what I know is I know the one source, the source that is God's life, is active through and as is the very nature of life. The oneness that is God is the very nature of life. And the very nature of life is one of wholeness, of order and beauty and truth and health and wealth and well-being and abundance and prosperity and all that goes into having life everlasting, life grand and glorious in this moment. And so what I know is there is that circle of life. There are those experiences of forgetting the truth and allowing a disbelief to creep into the mind, a disbelief that creeps into the mind and becomes an experience, a form in our lives, whether it's an illness or a sickness or a sense of lack or dismay or whatever that may be. And we sense that, hey, that's a form of thought. That's a form of thinking. And if I change my thinking, I can change my life. And so I pray for each one that has these experiences, these human experiences of physical ailment right now. I claim a great healing. I claim of a shifting of the mind that says I am healed, that there is a perfect body temple. There is a blueprint for the perfect body temple. And I'm activating that blueprint in the mind and in the heart of each one that makes these requests right now. I claim for each one that sense of doing that, and for everyone listening, that we have that power to create that healing ourselves. It is as near as your very next thought, I am healed. It is as near as that very next thought, I am in the healing process, as near as the very next thought that I am free of any limitation in my heart, in my mind, in my experience of life. Together we make this happen. And as each one listening says yes to this vibration, says yes, I stand and I can affirm and I stand together that this healing is not just possible, but is absolutely happening. It's absolutely happening right now. We are speaking the word, we are creating the vibration, we are loosing that thought, that vibration into the universal law, and it must demonstrate. That is how it works. It must demonstrate as a healing process in the heart, in the mind, in the body temple of everyone that says yes, that stands in agreement that they may be healed. And we open up to the next piece, the next part.
Yeah, ditto.
Mm-hmm.
The next one we have is, these are people that are praying for themselves and or someone else. And the prayer request is from Carla, Greg, Randy, Janine, and Anonymous, who would like prayers. They're going through separations from their marriages, and they have relatives that are going through separations with relatives, or a parent that is going through a separation. And they would like prayers for that to be as peaceful as possible.
Yes. The word that is yet to be in the room this day, and that is the epitome, is the centralized piece of it all, a part of it all, because it is peace. And from that deep sense of healing, from the vibration of healing that's been created in this space, in this experience, we call forth that deeper, even deeper sense of absolute peace. Knowing that peace is not the lack of experience. It is the ability to stand in the midst of the experience and still know God, and still see the face of God in the midst of whatever it may be that is coming our way. So I claim for each one that has been named here today, I claim for each one who's got their name on the list, requesting a deeper sense of peace and healing together. And whether it's a marital relationship or a work relationship or a sibling relationship, no matter where there is a sense of or a seeming separation, what we know is what we know is that scientifically, at the level of the quantum, once two particles are entwined and interacting for even the shortest amount of time, they are forever entrained. They are forever entrained and will forever be connected across the ether, across time, and across space. So there really is no separation happening here. There may be a division of property. There may be an agreement to go in different ways. And yet at the end of the day, everybody's still connected. And so that connection remains forever and ever and ever and ever. That connection cannot be severed. The connection to each one around us. So as we each say yes to the healing, as we each say yes to more love, to more light, to more peace in our lives, then everyone is affected. Everyone is lifted up. The rising tide lifts all boats. And so a little more peace in my heart is a little more peace in the world. And so our work and what I claim for each this day is to move into the world, into this day, into the rest of this month, into our lives with a deeper sense of cultivating inner peace. Because it is as I am at in peace with myself that I am able to express peace into the world. To radiate, cultivate, and radiate a deep, deep sense of inner peace so I may share that peace in the world. That is the work. That is the call of the moment. We lift it up in prayer. We lift it up in spirit. We lift up in consciousness a great, great sense of peace.
Amen.
Amen. Yes.
Now we have, this is a interesting request. Karen, an anonymous person, Candy, Dee Dee, Sarita, Ruth, and Christoph, and Joan would all like prayers. They have relationships that are healthy. They would just like prayers for that healthiness to continue and have blessings on their relationships.
Amen. Amen. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, we lift up the prayer of celebration. We lift up the prayer of celebrating that there is such a thing as a world that works for everyone, that it works for all. And we celebrate these dynamic couples, these dynamic relationships that are expressing and demonstrating that are demonstrating the effect, the experience of a healthy relationship, a relationship based on mutual trust and faith, of a deep sense of connection and oneness and working together towards a shared cause and a shared purpose, whatever it may be. We celebrate and lift that up, and we recognize that just because life is good does not mean we can't get it a whole bunch better. It doesn't mean that just because everything's working doesn't mean it can't work a whole lot smoother and a whole lot easier, that we can't raise up in consciousness to a new experience of that working order, that divine order, that perfect order that is God's life in our work and our relationships and every part we're doing. So I celebrate with these couples. I celebrate with each one that maybe is in a working relationship with themselves. If that alone is the working relationship, that is enough. That in itself is enough. And specifically, we lift up these divine souls that have said yes to celebrating the good, to celebrating the richness that is life on planet Earth together. And life is good. And so we continue.
It's nice to hear the good things that people, in fact, the next one is just a thank you from a person named Caroline, who I guess we did a prayer request for her last month and for illness. And she said it was very powerful and helped her. So she just wanted to thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you for letting us know. Folks, and thank you, Nanette, for making sure that we brought that one forward specifically this week. This time around, that is a powerful part of this. Sharing in our demonstration, sharing in our healing, sharing in the celebration, just as the one before this. But specifically, Caroline, we've got a physical healing and a demonstration. Thank you for sharing that with us. And everyone else out there, if you're watching, when you experience the healing, let us know. Drop an email, let us know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now we have Joseph, Nandun, Jerome, Jason, Kenfasu, Andrew, Stephen, Pastor Javed, Nasreen, Judah, and Saeed, who want prayers for their spirituality, faith, peace in themselves, their families, and friends.
I hear the call. I hear the prayer for faith, for that deeper sense of knowing. And it has been said that faith is the belief in things unseen. That deep sense of knowing that no matter what the outward appearances are, the inner work is one of peace. A deep sense of knowing that no matter what's happening in the world of form, in the world of human, God's got our back. And God is operating back of everything. And that the oneness that is God's life is forever good, is forever giving, is forever loving. It could be no other way. There could not be a power of evil. There could not be a power of hate. There could not be a duality in opposition to the power of good that is God's life. To suppose there was is a supposed duality, and that's just that long ago would be gone. Never would have lasted. The system would have broken down. So the only conclusion is that this is a system of good, of giving, of growing, of living. And that is what is happening right here. And so I claim for each one that has made this request here today, each one that has been named, a great sense of a growing faith. A growing faith in the oneness that is God's life, a growing faith in their own inner ability to be aligned with this givingness, to speak this word, to share their truth. I claim for each one across this entire planet that is feeling the call to serve something greater than themselves. I claim for each a deep sense of saying yes to that, no matter what the religion, no matter what the name, no matter what the form. Follow the one. Be true to that one. Say yes to the call of the one to serve humanity, to be a beneficial presence on the planet, to give in ways that are deeply committed and sacred and soulful. To turn away from the sense of grasping and lack and limitation and trying to get my own and amassing a hoard of my own, letting go of all of that to recognize the deep, deep oneness that we are all connected. We are all equally abundant. We all have equal measure to give and to share and to receive. I know there is a great uprising in consciousness that is upon us on planet Earth at this time, a great expansion of consciousness, a great uprising, a great sense of returning to the wholeness and the oneness that is the truth of life, and turning away from all the misperceptions that may perceive about dark forces or dark powers or any of that. It's all just a misuse of the law. There is no evil in the world. There is no evil intent. There is no force for bad, for harm, for evil meant to attack or try to dissolve. No, that is not the truth. All of that, I just cast all of that aside. Cast all of that back into the nothingness from whence it came. And focus on the truth of the loving, giving kindness that is God's life, expressing itself moment by moment by moment, day by day by day. And so I claim and I call for everyone that may ever hear this word, that sense of saying yes to the inner spiritual calling, to serve, to love, and to be. And so it is.
So it is. Dixie would like us to pray for the political and civil unrest in Myanmar, which is also known as Burma.
Mm-hmm.
And until I read up on it, once I saw this request, I was unfamiliar with all the turmoil that's going on over there. So she would like prayers for that area of the world.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so what I know that whether we call it political unrest or whether we call it democratic reform or whether we call it or insurrection or no matter what we call it, the life of God is one of all, of everything. And so I know God is expressing itself through and as everyone involved in every side, every perspective, every aspect of what is perceived as conflict, but what I call healing. Because what I know that a healing is a give and a take. It's an opportunity for each side, for every aspect, every part of the wholeness of the system that is, of the whole system, every aspect, every part to come into alignment, to find itself in its perfect place, to find its perfect way. And what's been going on for decades now in Myanmar or Burma, and with the reforms and now the current uprising of consciousness. Though it may not appear to be the consciousness some desire, there's an uprising of awareness, there is an uprising of consciousness, there is an uprising of truth. And what I claim and what I know is that there is good in the midst of it somewhere. I may not be able to see it right now, I may not recognize it in this exact moment, but I live in a place of absolute faith. I live a life of absolute trust that this must be an impulse for good. There must be some good in there somewhere. And so I must wait, I must stand witness, I must stand in affirmation of the collateral good that happens from the disillusionment, the dissolving of the political system that's happening in that country. For what I know that from the dissolving, there is always a new birth. What I know is I know God's life is one of absolute rebirth and regeneration. And so the one self-existent cause that I call God is forever taking on form and abandoning that form in order to take on new form. And so no matter what the outcome may be, the guarantee is that the new will be a new form, that there will be form, there will be something that rises up to take the place of what seems to have no longer be working. And if what was working, and this is a weird, an anomaly of consciousness and experience, and then the truth wins out. The universe has an amazing way of course correcting, and humans knock everything off kilter. God puts everything back on course. Divine order prevails. I know this truth. I claim this truth. I claim this truth for each one here to affirm this truth as we open up to a new level of prayer.
Well, Sheena, I just thought I would throw out here. These are three people that live in three different places. Sheena, the anonymous individual, and Diane would like prayers for the unfriendly and violent-prone neighborhoods in which they live.
Yes. And so I hear the call for prayer for peace. I hear the call of prayer for understanding. I hear the call for prayer for compassion. And I hear a call for prayer for unity. And so what I know is I know that I must first in my own consciousness be that unity. I must be that peace. I must be that connection. I must be the one in my heart, in my mind, in my soul, in my body. And so I claim for each one a deep sense of knowing that it is part, not just all, not just everything, but it is a part of my responsibility to be the peace I wish to see in the world. To be the love I wish to experience in the world, to be the neighbor I wish to have in the world, to be all that I am here to be, and trust, and be the bubble of peace amongst the maelstrom of chaos. Be that place in consciousness, and watch as that peace expands out around you. Watch how that peace it moves into other houses and community and neighbor parts of the neighborhood. Watch how the peace just ripples out again and again and again and again. That is the way. We pray for the healing of consciousness that leads those to believe that violence is an answer or a solution. We heal, we claim the healing, we pray for that healing. We stand in an affirmation that each one that believes right now on this planet that the answer, the way to truth is through violence, that the way to peace is through more guns, and that we claim for each one a sense of healing and a sense of revealing their own oneness, of coming back to the true oneness that we are all one. And so where one bleeds, we all bleed. Where one hurts, we all hurt. Where one is victimized, we are all oppressed. For we are one. And so I cast aside any sense of otherness, any sense of division, any sense of them versus us, or me getting mine and you getting. I cast all of that sense of division or separation aside, and I return myself to a deep sense of seeing and knowing that there is my brother, that there is God. And I love my brother, I love my sister, I love my God. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. And that life is my life, your life, right now.
It's funny that you mentioned some of the things you mentioned. Sort of like you have ESP for what's coming up. And I know you can relate to this, Reverend Robert, because you and I both live in Colorado. Mm-hmm. Neither of us live in Boulder. Mm-hmm. And something you just mentioned is that, that oppression, like that happened at the grocery store in Boulder.
Right.
And it has far-reaching effects. I don't even live down there, but it doesn't matter. The pain is real and visceral, and and Harry, who's on our list here, wants us to pray for all the shootings.
Yes. Yes. And it is there that my heart breaks. For I can not possibly list the number of cities, the number of families, the number of communities across these United States torn apart by gun violence, by the free-flowing exchange of weapons and arms that we believe is our right here in this country. It pains my heart to have to even pray the prayer that lifts up so many souls whose gifts were taken from us at the end of a weapon in the hands of someone, man, woman, child, perhaps. No matter what uniform, no matter what work or calling, I lift up the United States in a great sense of healing from this sense of separation. For it is only at the end of a gun that we separate ourselves from God. It is only at the end of a gun that we separate ourselves from humanity. It is only through the end of a gun that we really, truly come to the end of anything. And as we come and turn, and as I claim for humanity, a sense of uprising into a deeper sense of love and compassion, a sense of saying there's another way, no matter what the conflict, no matter what the apparent transgression, no matter what the illness, there truly is. We have outgrown, we have outlived. Thank God. Thank you, Almighty. I slip into that pleading and begging, and thank you, Almighty. We have outlived the necessity of these weapons in our society. We have outlived their need and their use and their necessity. And what I know is I know that in the mind of God, when something is no longer necessary, it is cast asunder and we transcend into something new. We transcend into a new way of being together, a new way where we solve problems with our voices, with our hearts, with our thoughts, with our prayers, where the gun and the pistol and the bullet and all the associated stuff just drifts away because it's no longer necessary. I claim for each one that's already been affected by this pandemic of violence across the United States. I claim for every family a great, great sense of healing. For what I know is I know as a people, as a society, we are, as a culture, we are waking up to something new. We're waking up through the death and the blood and the grief and the horror that unregulated gun violence has mitigated across these United States for far too long. We lift up that intersection of violence and free access to weapons and the failing mental health system, knowing there is a need to rebuild that as well. And there's a reimagining that must occur that we are already activating, reimagining how healthcare and the mental health system can reemerge and be born into something new as well in support of this system. For this is not a singular experience. This is not a singular prayer. None of this today, not one of these various opportunities has been individually separate from all the rest. All this healing on every level, in every form. That is the calling of each of us, to heal what is ours to heal, to be the voice for those that have not been heard and are not being heard, to be the hands and the heart of God on this planet, moment by moment by moment by moment by moment by moment by moment. by moment. That is our work. That is our sacred duty. That is our sacred call. It begins in consciousness and must take form through and as our lives. That is how we create a world that works for everyone. And I am lifted up, knowing that this is upon us. We're doing it.
That was very powerful and very needed. And I'm really grateful that you made me think of something, and then it so happens that Harry wanted just a blanket for all the shootings. And you stated it so well. We have outlived this need.
Mm-hmm.
If there was ever a time, I'm sure our forefathers were not thinking of
No.
the long guns that, they had muskets. They were heavy. They weren't fast. They couldn't shoot time and time again. I digress. But anyway, thank you for that. It was very powerful.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Then for our last one that I have, unless Christina has, because I haven't looked at that yet. I don't know if Christine has added anything coming in from the live.
I haven't seen anything yet.
Okay. There's Cess, Ed, John, and Debbie, who would like prayers for their loved ones who are either entangled in drug addiction or are successfully off the drugs and trying to stay off the drugs.
Yes. So we speak the sacred word of recovery. We speak the sacred prayer of connection, of purity, of oneness. We speak the sacred word of truth. Knowing that no matter what it may be that we may become addicted to, whether it's a natural occurrence, a natural plant, or whether it's something that's processed, alcohol, cocaine, whether it's something esoteric, sex, or experience, thrill, adrenaline, we may become addicted to anything. And all the addiction is a sense of not enoughness. It's a sense of saying that I don't have enough of this in my life. I can't have enough. I need more of this in my life. I need more of this in my life. And so for each one that struggles with that sense of compulsion, that sense of trying to fulfill a void, a hole that cannot be filled, I claim a deeper sense. I claim a word of wholeness, of connection, a sense of knowing that right where you are enough. You don't need another drink. You don't need another shot. You don't need another hit. You don't need another puff. You don't need anything. We are each magnificent in our own way. And our calling is to share that magnificence, to share that grief, to share the love, to share the good, to share the divine gift that you are here to bring. For I know that we are each here to bring a unique set of gifts and skills and talents to the planet. And what addiction does is addiction takes that out of the equation. That sense of compulsive behavior that says, I'm just not enough if I don't have a little more here, or I just need a little bit of this to do that. All that justification, all that back and forth, cast all of that aside. And we are left with the pure natural order of God's life. And that is enough. I claim for each one that hears these words a deep sense of knowing that there is always enough, always more than enough necessary for the complete and total fulfillment of your mission on this planet called Earth. That everything necessary comes into your life exactly as necessary. So what's going on in your life is what's necessary. What's not going on in your life is just not necessary. Not right now, maybe later, maybe in another time, maybe never. Invite each one that hears these words to come into that place of really knowing that no matter what part of the day it is, what's going on is what's perfect, is what is necessary, is where I am meant to be, is where I can best serve. As long as I stay in that place of saying, how can I best serve? How do I best serve in this moment? How do I best serve in this experience? How do I best serve in this relationship, in this organization? How do I best serve God? I open up to the alignment. I open up to the truth. I serve God by serving myself. I serve God by coming to the wholeness, by coming to the health, to the oneness, by letting go of anything that separates me or creates a seeming separation, creates an appearance of separation. I let go of anything that blocks me from expressing my most magnificent, true, and authentic self. And all the rest of it fades away as we come to a place of knowing I am enough, just as I am. And that is the greatest healing. And so I am in a place in this moment, just grateful, overflowing with deep, deep gratitude for what has transpired here this day. For those that have come to hear this prayer in this moment live, for those that are listening at another time, in another dimension perhaps, no matter what it is, when it is, where it is, absolutely grateful for each one that has in any way said yes to this sacred prayer that has been revealed, that has revealed itself here this day. Grateful for those operating behind the scenes to make it all happen. Grateful for the tech and the generations of technology that has brought it together to make this available, to hear this in this moment, to make all this possible. Most especially, I rest in a deep sense of gratitude, knowing the truth has revealed itself here this day. And it is from that grateful heart that I release this word into the universal law that must demonstrate, according to my belief, that must operate upon this prayer, in fact, is already operating upon this prayer. The wheels have been spinning since the moment we started this whole thing off today. So I am grateful to witness God bringing new into form through the lives of each and every one that has said yes here this day. And I let it be. I get myself out of the way. I get my divine bloatedness out of the divine circuits and let God do the work. And invite each one in any way touched by any word spoken here this day to join in an affirmation of truth as we raise up and say together, and so it is.
Awesome. Very awesome, Reverend Robert, as usual. Mm-hmm. And I love it when you say, get out of God's way.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I remind myself of that quite often. Like, wait, stop. Just move over. Let the big guy through, the big gal.
Yep. Our job is to focus on what we would like to experience and let God figure out the how.
Yeah. And I've told a couple people that, and they go, I like that. I said, yeah, well, it's a good line. It's better if you use it. But anyway, I just wanted to thank Christine, who's in the background today. She's keeping eyes on all of the different websites that we're live streaming on. And that is quite a job, believe me when I tell you. Mm-hmm. So thank you very much, Christine, for doing that. And I just wanted to tell everybody that June 6th is the next first Sunday of the month. And that's when we will return.
Fabulous. All right. I look forward to it. Thank you, dear one, for having me again.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Pleasure is mine.
All right, folks. That's all we've got for today. We'll be back next time. Until then, peace and blessings. Bye now.
Amen.
Amen.